Welcome everyone to our series titled Quote Stories. I have designed this series which covers stories from my life, and this is with an intention to assist you with my experiences and lessons learned. Join me today on a journey which I have titled it as Do It All. It's a story of doing everything, right from multitasking to placing myself thin in almost all assignments with no results. Many years ago, during my early years in the corporate job, when I was just a beginner, hardly 2 years into my job life, I was part of an organization wherein, after my first appraisal, I was told in form of a feedback that visibility was one of the most important norm of that organization. The second was to network. And since I was new and it was my first appraisal, with not much of due consideration and long-term thought, I took this feedback very seriously. And as a result, my intention and my goal moving forward was more to be part of departments, functions, projects, which would help me, give me a boost in my visibility. So I began to multitask. I was so in sync with the feedback and so hell-bent to be visible. Plus, at the same time, not really understanding the crux of, the long-term impact of what I was picking up. So I would take up projects, I would take up assignments, I would be part of everything. In a way, indirectly, I also ended up becoming a people pleaser. I could never say a no to anyone. So there were simultaneously projects running, and then there were assignments, and beyond this, there were some few extracurricular activities which very easily could have been avoided. None of that synced up with any of my interests or hobbies. However, I still took them because I thought it would give me the required visibility. I could write back in my appraisal report the way I've been trying to meet my goals and trying to work through the feedback that I had received. And plus, I may end up working, networking really well, maybe with this new, my new agenda and goal of being visible. I would achieve a lot. I could just get my success very easily. And eventually, I began to work almost 15 hours a day. Time went by, and my name popped up in almost all assignments, projects, extracurricular activities, and various other things that I was part of. Because as I mentioned earlier, I was just handling too many things at the same time. In a nutshell, I was everywhere, but nowhere. Over a period of time, when the next appraisal cycle was due, and I was very satisfied with myself, with my work, there was a surprise element to the next appraisal that I went through. And I don't blame my supervisor nor my mentor, who actually later on helped me correct some of my approaches. But as a result of a 15-hour to 18-hour workday every single day, being part of multiple projects, placing myself thin in everything, taking everything that comes by, and at the same time, also trying to work through the extracurricular activities with one intention of being visible, trying to think it will fetch me the success that I was looking for. It would help me not just only become visible, but at the deeper reality of that was I wanted to be successful. And instead of being successful, the results turn out to be that I was on a verge of burnout, and there were no proper concrete results that I was achieving in any of the assignments that I was part of. With this brief experiences that I just shared with you, I would like to close it by letting you know the key lessons that I learned from this 2 years of experience where I had literally put myself up on a burnout. First thing, I never understood the long-term impact of that one feedback I had received. And with my experiences, friends, whoever is listening to me, and if you're new in your career or job, uh, learn from my experience that always look for the long-term impact, regardless of whatever feedback you receive. If you really think it matters in the long term, go for it. Otherwise, you don't really have to say yes to everyone. We all have the ability to choose, and we also have a choice. There are times where things usually are beyond our control, specifically when we're working in a corporate environment. However, we do have this ability, and when we surrender our ability to choose, it's that time when somebody else chooses for us. They prioritize our life and they run it. So to get back to your driver's seat, always remember, whatever you do, look for, will it going to stay with it for a very long term, and what you're doing today, what it would impact you in the long term. This may save you from many years of not just suffering, but a burnout experience, just as I had with this incorrect approach that I followed. This another lesson, a very important one that I had learned, was the do-it-all approach actually do not serve anyone. Today, as a coach and as a marketer, when I work on my campaigns with my marketing team, there's a single seeker focus that we follow. And that's precisely one of the reasons for my success as a coach and also success and profits in my coaching business. When we place ourselves saying yes to everyone, we actually end up serving none. So learn to say a no and make sure you say it to the right person. The third lesson is about our limits. It's a simple one, but usually when we are inexperienced, we don't tend to really understand that everything has a limit, our capacity, our potential, and including our scope of work. There is no such thing that is the be all and end all of our life. Also, that it's unlimited in the sense that it's going to go on forever and ever, and that it will impact us forever. Even the job that I did many years ago, the one through which I had pulled this example, I mean the story that I'm sharing with you, it ended. And with that, my many projects ended. Some of were hits, most of them were a failure, and most in which I failed. So this is one of the most key lessons that I had learned, that I'm sharing with you all. Remember, there's a limit. And while as a human being, we need to protect our potential, our capacity, by not stretching ourselves beyond our limits so that you exhaust your energies, your potentiality, your capacity in those early years and burnt yourself out so that you're just not capable to anything else. I did this grave mistake very early on in my life, and it took me many years really to get back to a point where I was then refilled myself with the capacity and potential. So ensure what you have, you spend it wisely. It's like, in a way, I'm telling you, just don't lose it out all in your early years. Save and spend wisely, be it your wealth, be it your capacity, and be it your potential. Another key lesson that I learned from this experience, but I learned this many years later when through my coach, because this burnt out episode also had given me a lot of physical issues, and for which I had to reach out to a therapist and including a mentor and a coach. So this was many years later. And this is where my coach taught me that mastery is never achieved overnight. When I was trying to do so many things at the same time, because of my own view, my incorrect approach, that hard work is equal to success. I can do it all. I should do it all. I should take everything and I should be visible. I should connect, network, and I should grab everything that's coming my way. Instead, if I had been a bit more patient, a bit more steadfast, and hold on to what I was doing, I could have had gained that expertise which I missed out because I had placed myself thin on several things, lacking depth. So like I was on the surface and into too many things. So my one of the key lessons, and that I carry, and I also hope to carry it over many other years in my life ahead, is that if one aims to be an expert or to achieve mastery, one needs to remember this important principle that it's never achieved overnight. There's no fast track to success. Success comes, mastery is achieved, but over a period of time and with consistent efforts. It's not by just doing it all. Finally, I this is one of the lessons that you will find in almost all my stories that I share with you. Seek counsel. Don't suffer in silence. I ended up in a burnout phase and with many other issues physically and mentally because I never thought or gave a thought to hire a mentor or a coach who could assist me get out of the web that I was caught up in. Had I hired myself a coach, I wouldn't have to really uh, take those trial and error and all the incorrect approaches. Instead, I could have had a much better long-term view, a correct approach, and a more effective plan to work on. But that's part of life and that's part of our personal growth. So this happened, me hiring a coach happened 5 years later from this particular incident. And when it happened, it really changed my life. So for you, while I share my experiences, I would also like to put in a word. If you think you are somewhere stuck and caught up in similar incorrect and faulty approaches, where you're trying to do it all, where you're just trying to chase things, or you think you can achieve success overnight, or there's a shortcut to it somewhere and all you need to do is find it, pause and hire a coach for yourself. That would be one of the best investments and one of the best things you may have had done for yourself. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for your time. You can connect with me. These are my coordinates. And I look forward to connect with you all again in another episode with another story. Till then, bye.